Hi guys, it's Angie with Fun Endeavors Tie-Dye Lab. Today I'm going to make a reverse dyed geode shirt that I'm going to snow dye. This is a 100% cotton black t-shirt that's been washed and taken straight out of the washing machine, so it hasn't been soaked in anything. To begin tying the geodes, I'm going to find a spot on the shirt where I'd like the center of a geode to be. Pinch that area and lift the shirt up off the table a little bit. And slide my hand down to where I'd like the bottom of the geode to be. That's where I'm going to start tying with sinew. I'm going to use the sinew because it is wax coated, so as I tie a sinew line around the shirt, the dye remover and the dye won't be able to get in underneath that area, and the shirt will remain black under those sinew lines. For each geode, I'm not trying to make them all the same size or the same shape. I want them to look very organic, so I'm going to vary the size of them and the amount of lines that I put in each geode. With each geode, I'm just pulling one layer of fabric. I'm not tying the front of the shirt and the back of the shirt at the same time. Some of the geodes do start like at the front of the shirt and spill over to the back of the shirt because I want them to be able to flow and be organic like that. But I'm not tying both the front of the shirt and the back of the shirt at one time. That's the other thing, is you can make your geodes as large as you want and put as many of them on your shirt as you'd like. I personally like the geodes to be a little bit larger. This shirt, I left a little more space around the geodes. Most of the time, I tighten them up or put them pretty close to each other. Once the shirt is tied, it's time to start removing part of the dye. For this shirt, I'm going to use Out White Brite Laundry Whitener. I'm also going to remove the color from several shirts all at one time. So I've placed the shirts inside of a plastic tub or container, and I'm just going to sprinkle the dry out over the top of them. I'm doing this outside because it does have a smell and it's a powder, so I'm going to wear my respirator when I do this too. It's pretty easy to tell which of the shirts this one is in the container. Now I'm going to take and pour boiling hot water over the top of all the shirts. This Out White Brite begins working almost immediately. As I'm pouring the water over the top, you can see where it's already starting to remove the color. I want to make sure that I get the color removed from the middle of the shirt too, So I'm going to pour some more boiling hot water over the top to make sure the shirts are almost submerged. I'm also going to add a little bit more of the Out White Brite. This shirt was a little bit more difficult because I couldn't quite get the whole entire shirt underneath the water at the same time. So I have one geode that just keeps sticking up. But I'm going to go ahead and flip the shirt over, and I'll add more out to that one area several times. So this process is really fast. From the time that I poured the first batch of boiling hot water onto the shirt until the time that I rinsed the shirt, it was probably only about 5 to 7 minutes, which is really fast for color removal. If you're not familiar with the Out White Brite, it works very much the way RIT Color Remover does if you've ever tried that before. Generally, when I've used the RIT Color Remover, I've added it to a bucket along with some boiling hot water and then submerged the shirts. And the process usually takes about 20 minutes. If you're wondering about bleach, I've used bleach in the past, but I've really kind of tried to get away from using bleach. Bleach is a lot more damaging to the fabric of the shirt than either RIT Color Remover or the Out White Brite. They're just totally different products and they remove the color in a different way. I also haven't ever been able to get the shirts quite as light using bleach. You can get them that light using bleach, but normally it causes damage to the shirts when I've tried it. After I checked the folds on a couple of the shirts and realized that I had enough color removed from the shirts, I took them to the sink and rinsed them out in some cold water. I went ahead and left this shirt tied and threw it in the washing machine with the rest of the shirts and washed it using a little bit of Dharma's textile detergent and hot water. The sinew pretty much stayed intact. I had a couple areas where it came loose and it frayed a little bit. I just trimmed those up with some scissors and left it the way it was and went ahead and soaked it in a soda ash solution for 20 to 30 minutes. Then I wrung it out of my Panda spin dryer and I put it aside to allow it to dry. I got busy on a couple other projects, and so this shirt actually dried out for about a week before I got to dyeing it. We've gotten some snow recently, and so I'm going to go ahead and snow dye this shirt. I've placed it down inside of a plastic container, and I'm going to dye it down in the muck, which just means that I'm going to allow the shirt to sit in the runoff from all of the snow melting. I've also pressed all the geodes as flat as I can to try to help keep the dye on top. I'm going to dye this geode a variety of purple and blue shades. I'm also going to just randomly apply the colors to the geodes. So I'm beginning with Sky Blue from Dharma Trading Company. The next color is Periwinkle from Dharma. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that over various areas of the shirt. Because the geodes are shaped the way that they are, quite a bit of the dye generally falls off into the container. But that's okay because we're going to muck dye that. So that dye will just mix with the runoff and add to the design. The next color is Blue Violet from Dharma Trading Company. Royal Purple from Grateful Dyes. And Nebula Navy from Dharma Trading Company. Now I'm going to sprinkle on a little bit of additional soda ash over the top, just to make sure as the snow melts and runs through the shirt that there's plenty of soda ash left in the shirt to react with the dye. And now I'm going to add on the snow. The snow that we've gotten this time is a bit more dry and powdery, so I'm really going to try to pack it down on top of the shirt. Since this is a thick fold, I want to make sure I have plenty of muck for the shirt to sit in, so I'm going to add just a little bit more of the snow to the top. To fill in some of the gaps and add some dimension, I'm going to add Wisteria from Dharma to the top of the snow. Normally when I do earth tone geodes, I'll use a color like ecru, but since most of the colors that I'm using in this shirt are blues and purples, I'm just going to use this light Wisteria. Now I'm going to set the shirt aside and allow all the snow to melt and allow the shirt to process for at least 24 hours. Because it was so cold and I didn't want to have to rinse shirts out in a cold sink, I went ahead and waited about 72 hours. I took the shirt to the sink and started rinsing in cold water to rinse out the excess soda ash. Then I gradually warmed the water up to hot and continued rinsing to rinse out any of the excess dye that didn't bond with the shirt. Because I still had quite a bit of blue and purple that was still coming out after I had rinsed for a while, I went ahead and filled my sink up with some hot water, added a little bit of Blue Dawn dish soap, and just soaked the shirt. I kept repeating the soaking process until most of the excess dye had come out and the water was almost clear. Then I put the shirt in the washing machine and washed it using some hot water and some Dharma's textile detergent. After washing and drying the shirt, this is what it looks like. So I really like the way this shirt turned out. It's got a lot of really dark, rich blues and purples in it. I do have one area up next to the shoulder on the front that didn't get a lot of dye saturation on the part where the color was removed. I don't think it looks bad, and I'm not entirely sure what happened there. I added more than enough snow to the top, so the shirt was sitting down in a good amount of muck. There was one geode though right at the very top, and I think that may have been the one that wasn't quite as saturated down in the muck as the rest of them. I'm really pleased with the out product too. You can see that it pulled out a whole lot of the color from the inside of the geodes. A lot of times there will be huge black chunks left inside of a geode because they're tied so tight, but the out did really well to get down through those geodes and remove a lot of that color. There are a few of them that have larger black chunks than others, but I think that's good. I think it adds to the organic feel of the shirt and of the geode pattern. So for the most part, I really like the shirt. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out. It's always fun to get to snow dye since I don't get that opportunity very often. So if you guys have enjoyed watching this video, I sure would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the big red subscribe button. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a great day.